Ask North 40, Episode 6. On today's show, I'm going to get outfitted into Sitka gear. Nikwax is going to tell us whether we should be Ivory or Dove men. And lastly, we're going to go to the fly shops and find out if they know the difference between strike indicators and bobbers. Let's get started.
Share your questions with us. We'll share the answers with everybody.
This is
Ask North 40.
So we got a question about how to layer during hunting season, cold and warm weather conditions. So we raided Jaren's closet, and we're going to go to the guys at Sitka because they know a thing or two about layering.
Dan asks, can you recommend a specific system that will keep me cool in the heat and warm in the cold while hunting?
All right, so in the Rockies especially, we get a wide range of weather in the hunting season. Especially elk season starts usually in September, and we get that hot blast. So we can have temperatures ranging from 90 degrees in the middle of the day all the way down into below freezing at night. And so we really have to dress appropriately. And we believe that dressing appropriately starts with a next to skin layer. So it's really important to get something next to skin that's going to provide wicking. And getting that moisture away from your skin is going to keep you warmer even when you're sweating out and it's 40 degrees, or even in the hot part of the summer when it's 80 degrees and you have a good next to skin piece. It's going to help to regulate your body temperature, keep you more comfortable, and keep you hunting longer. As the season progresses, that's when we're going to start to add pieces to our kit. And really it becomes a system that you're building depending on the time of the year. But a lot of that stuff will work throughout the whole season. So we start with a good next to skin layering piece, something that wicks moisture, something that hopefully has some kind of smell inhibitor like a polygene type technology.
Polygene and other anti-stink materials. What's the secret? Well, the secret actually starts in your sweat. Sweat is naturally clean and odorless, but when it gets into the fabric of your clothes, that's the perfect breeding spot for bacteria. It's dark, it's warm, and it's moist. And that bacteria, as it spreads, is what actually produces the smell. Built inside of this fabric that we have is an ionic compound called silver chloride. And this acts as an antimicrobial layer that actually prevents the spread of that bacteria. So you can wear your clothes longer and stay fresher.
It's going to actually not keep you from stinking when you're out there in the backcountry for 7-8 days at a time. From there, what we typically add is some sort of insulation piece. So we've got our base layer, and then as the temps start to drop, or maybe we're sitting on a hill glassing, we need to cover up and provide a little bit of insulation. And we can do that with different types of pieces. Anything ranging from wind stopper to block the wind and provide a little bit of insulation, all the way up to a puffy piece, something out of a Primaloft. There's a lot of brands out there working with the Primaloft company and providing a synthetic insulation, and now there's even down blends with that really can accomplish what you need it to throughout a wide range of time, from September all the way through November. And then as we're stacking on top of that, we start to get some elements in those seasons that can vary from rain to full-on snowstorms, can get icy up there and everything else. So that's when we start to put on these outer layers. So we cover up. We got our next to skin, we have our insulation layers, and now we need a true outerwear piece to protect us from those really harsh elements that we have in the Rockies. So that's where I'm going to start looking for some Gore-Tex pieces. And the Gore-Tex range, or any kind of waterproof outerwear garments, you can get super lightweight, very packable, to fully insulated Gore-Tex garments as well. Stuff that's going to provide more insulation plus an exterior shell that's going to protect you from all those elements.
Okay, so in episode 4, we got a question from Jennifer, and it's about shoe care.
Okay, so we definitely care shoe care products. Who do we sell? Kayla, who do we sell?
Nikwax, Obenovs, and then our own brand.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. At the Outdoor Retailer show a couple years ago, Kayla and I were in the booth, and Nikwax really impressed us with their technical knowledge of shoe care products. So I think we should ask them.
All right, let's go to Nikwax.
Jennifer asked, can you do an episode on shoe care?
So a new set of boots is really important to make sure that you keep that stuff clean. Even when you get it directly from a store, oftentimes it can be different oils and residues that can be on there. So if it is that you purchase a set of boots, that you want to add a water repellency to, you always want to make sure you do clean that first. So I always recommend a water-based, soap-based cleaner. That's going to be the best way to go. If you were to use, say, a detergent-based cleaner, it's going to leave behind a hydrophilic or a water-attracting residue. So it's the opposite of what you want to do with the durable water repellency, or DWR, that you're applying to that piece of footwear. So it's really important to make sure you're using that soap-based cleaner before you add the waterproofing, but it's also essential to make sure that you're keeping your boots clean after you go out on those hikes. So you get into that nice, nasty, grinding mud, you had a great time all weekend or all week, whatever trip you're on. You want to make sure you clean that stuff off. The longer it's on there, the more damage it's going to be able to do to the leather itself, to the durable water repellency that we talked about, and really just kind of inhibit its performance. So we want to make sure it's going to perform really well for you, so you want to make sure you keep that stuff clean with a soap-based cleaner.
Do you have any tips or pointers for people to identify whether or not the soaps they're using are detergent-based or not detergent-based?
Typically just looking at the product itself, oftentimes it will call out detergent or detergent-free. They will specifically say that sometimes, or they'll call out specifically that they are a soap-based cleaner. Take like Ivory Soap Flakes, for instance. In the name, they're specifically telling you that it is a soap-based product, so that would be totally fine to use. There's not going to be any detergent involved there. Other than that, I'd say probably just Googling a particular product is always going to be a good, safe way to get some information.
Gotcha. Aaron, are you an Ivory man?
I'm not an Ivory man. I'm actually a Dove man, if you really have
Hey, well, Aaron, that's just one more thing that we agree upon, because I, too, am a Dove man. I should have known.
As for waterproofing your gear, you always want to make sure you have that soap-based cleaner to clean it beforehand. Always wipe away any of those suds. Once those suds are gone, you know that's going to be a nice, clean piece of footwear you can apply your waterproofing to. So say for a full-grain leather boot, you want to make sure that you take into account that this is going to be a technical leather boot. So you really want to have a product that's designed specifically for it. So you want to look for a product that's going to be designed for either a full grain leather or a smooth grain leather. That's going to be designed to help moisturize that leather, keep it from drying out and cracking, and add that nice water repellency to make sure it's going to perform well for you.
Jake, on the bobber question, I'd be really interested to know what Nick and Joe had to say about it. Because to me, a bobber and indicator are the same thing.
Andrew asked, why do we have to call it a strike indicator?
Thanks, Andrew. That's a great question. So, it's not a very well-known story, actually, but... Well, we did some digging here at the Fly Shop here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to answer that. We've come up with a pretty solid answer as to why they actually did call it a strike indicator. There was this 19th century gillie, or English light fishing guide. His name was Sir Charles Smith, who was an extraordinary fishing guide on the River Spey. And what a lot of people don't know about Sir Smith is he was a great competitive bowler. And it appears a while back that the word bobber was actually already used, so we had to go with strike indicator. What?
I think we need to ask Fred.
So it basically comes down to this. A good strike indicator costs, $1 to $2. Red and white bobber usually goes for about 25 cents. Beyond that, simply attaching a bobber to your leader is not going to make you a better nymph fisherman. A strike indicator is usually, there's a little more going on with it than a typical bobber. Some indicators are made out of yarn, some are made out of foam with adhesive back, some are made, basically they're trapped air technology. You've got the new airlock indicators that are adjustable, but they actually are just like a buoy. You can move them up and down your leader real easily without kinking your line. The old red and white bobber is going to mess up your leader a little bit. Important thing about using an indicator is learning where to place it, learning how to read its movement. Your goal is to know the moment a fish takes your fly, and that is indicated by the right strike indicator. It indicates your drift speed. It indicates a lot of different things about the drift beyond just letting you know if a fish is pulling on it and taking your worm if you were bait fishing with a red and white bobber. So Having the right strike indicator, big deal.
Guys, it's just a bobber.
If you get into my boat and you call it a bobber, I'll probably laugh, but I'll tell you, next time it's a strike indicator.
So that's going to do it for episode 6 of Ask North 40. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, we are still looking for more questions. So using the hashtag AskNorth40 on any of your favorite social platforms, we'll get it and we'll look to get it answered. We got our first Snapchat questions this week, and that is awesome. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.